going to divide fractions using the standard algorithm. The standard algorithm for dividing fractions says you're going to multiply by the multiplicative inverse of your second fraction. So let's start with this word problem. Adam is having some friends over. He has 4 pizzas, and each person will get 2/3 of a pizza. So how many people can eat pizza? Well, let's start with our equation. We know that Adam has 4 pizzas. He's having some friends over, and each person is going to get 2/3 of a pizza. So we need to take those 4 pizzas and divide them into groups that are 2/3. Now, the rule for our standard algorithm is you multiply by the multiplicative inverse of our second fraction. So remember, if our fraction is 2/3, our multiplicative inverse, it switches our numerator and our denominator. So what we're going to be doing is multiplying by 3/2. Now 4 is a whole number, and we know that to multiply a fraction times a fraction, we need to turn that whole number into a fraction. And every whole number can be turned into a fraction by giving it a denominator of 1. So what we have is 4/1 times 3/2. When we multiply fractions, you multiply your numerator times your numerator. So 4 times 3 is 12, and 1 times 2 is 2. 12 halves. 12 halves, if we simplify it, becomes 6. So we know that in the context of this problem, it means that 6 people can eat pizza. Now, if you want to show it, we can show it with a picture here. So let me take these pizzas. I'm going to divide each pizza into thirds. That doesn't show up so well. Let's try it in yellow. Let's try it in white. I'll divide each pizza into thirds here. So here are my 4 pizzas. I'm going to divide each one into thirds. And then each person's going to get 2/3. So one person will eat these 2 sections. Another person will eat these 2. One person gets these 2. And then a 4th person, a 5th person, and a 6th person will get these last 2 pieces. So we can see using our picture that 4 divided by 2/3 is also 6. Now let's look at a couple of just math problems, not word problems. These have a little bit of a challenge to them, and that is our first fraction is a fraction that's bigger than 1. It's what we call a mixed number. So the first thing we have to do when you have a mixed number is you have to change it into an improper fraction. So remember, the way you do this, we have 3 1/3. That means we have 3 wholes plus 1 extra third. I know that each of these 3 wholes has 3 pieces. So that means there are 9 pieces in these 3 wholes plus 1 extra gives me 10/3. So I've got 10/3 divided by 4/6. Now let's think about that standard algorithm here. That standard algorithm says we take our first fraction and we're going to multiply by our multiplicative inverse. So the multiplicative inverse of 4/6, we reverse our numerator and our denominator, and we get 6/4. Now 10 times 6 is 60, and 3 times 4 is 12. 60/12. 60 divided by 12, if I'm going to simplify that, is 5. So the answer to this problem is 5. Let's try one more. Let's look at 2 1/2 divided by 3/4. Now again, 2 1/2 is a fraction that's a mixed number. We need to make it a fraction greater than 1, written as an improper fraction. So 2 1/2, I have 2 wholes. Each of those wholes has 2 pieces, so that's 4 pieces plus 1 extra gives me 5 halves. So I have 5 halves divided by 3/4. Well, now I know I need to change this to multiply by my multiplicative inverse. So I have 5 halves times, instead of 3/4, we're going to reverse our numerator and our denominator, and we get 4/3. Now we multiply. 5 times 4 gives me 20, and 2 times 3 gives me 6. So I have 20/6. Now, if I want to change this back into a mixed number, I need to think about how many groups of 6 are in 20. I know I can get 3 whole groups of 6, and there'll be 2 pieces left over. Okay? So 26 is really 3 and 2 6. And that's how you use your standard algorithm to divide fractions.